Happy Tuesday, scholars, and welcome to your second day of fraction review. Today, we are going to be focusing on actually making our own fractions resource because I noticed that in the practice from yesterday, some of us were still getting tricked up on how to name and identify fractions. So we're actually going to practice that today by making our own resource. First, let's have a quick moment of review. So we know a fraction is, and just like we went in class, when I repeat something, you need to say it out loud. So a fraction is a number. A fraction is it is a fraction is a number that represents equal parts. That represents equal parts of a whole object, of a whole object or set of objects. So we know when a fraction represents a whole object, it might look like this. In this case, we have a whole square. It has been split into 4 equal pieces. So we have our whole square. That is one whole square. We've split it into 4 equal pieces, and one piece is shaded. So we know that 1 out of a total of 4 pieces in one whole, 1/4 of the whole square is shaded. I want you to practice saying that with me. 1/4, your turn. 1/4 of the whole, 1/4 of the, now say the whole thing. 1/4 of the whole, your turn. Good, silent excitement for that. 1/4 of the whole is shaded. We know we can also have fractions that look like sets. In this case, 1 whole is this set of 4 circles. Those are bad circles, sorry guys. And in this case, 1/4 of my set is shaded because 1 out of the 4 circles is shaded. We're not going to talk a lot about sets this week. We're going to talk more about breaking a whole into pieces, but I want to remind you all that this is still a fractional amount that is shaded. 1/4, this circle that is shaded is 1/4 of the whole set is shaded. So same fraction, just a little bit different context. Let me erase this before we move on. Let's rock and roll. So something I also want to emphasize is making sure that fractions must have equal parts. Some of us yesterday got tricked on that question that asked us to pick all of the shapes that showed equal parts. I think some of us got one answer and then got a little lazy. We didn't actually select all because there were 2 correct answers. So really make sure that you go back and check your work for that one, because we know that fractions must have equal parts. So if I had, I'll make it in yellow so we can see it. If I had this triangle here and I were to split it like this, I see 2 pieces. So somebody might be tempted to say, oh, these are halves. I have 2 halves in my whole. But are these actually the same size? Say, no way. Yeah, absolutely not. This piece here looks to be a lot smaller than this piece here. So I can't say that that fractional amount is 1/2 shaded of my triangle because these aren't equal pieces. They aren't the same size. So I don't know. I was also a little bit tricked, so I'm going to review this, and I even have a fun video on the next slide to help us review. So we know the number on the top, yes, the digit on the top is called our numerator. Say that with me, numerator, your turn. Your turn, my turn, numerator, your turn. Good. So the numerator is the number on top. Put your hands up in the air. The numerator is the number on top. And it means how many pieces or how much of the whole that we have. So if we were looking at an object with shaded pieces, in this case, 1 piece would be shaded. The digit on the bottom is called our, drumroll please, denominator. This was our word yesterday. Most of us got this question correct when we did the question for the independent practice. So that was our vocab word from yesterday. This is actually going to be our word of the day today because I really, really, really want to focus on the importance of this number. Some of us yesterday got the question wrong that asked us to identify what part of a fraction tells us how many pieces are in a whole. We need to know that that's the denominator. We need to know that we need to look at the number at the bottom to tell us how many pieces are in one whole. How many pieces are in How many pieces are in? One whole. So the denominator tells us how many pieces make up one whole. So if we were to say, like in this case here, we know that if I were to draw an object, in order for me to write this fraction, I would need to split it into 4 even pieces. Trying my best here. It's not a perfect square, but we're working on it. And then for me to represent this fraction, I would need to shade one of these pieces in because the numerator tells us that one piece out of 4 equal pieces is shaded. As a reminder, this also tells us the name of each piece. Today we're going to practice names because it seemed to be a little bit tricky. But I know that something that has 4 equal pieces are called fourths. Are called fourths. Make sure you put that TH on the end. It's not fours, it's fourths. Good stuff. All right. To help us really memorize and remember some of this, I have a fun video to help us out. So I want you to watch the video for some reminders about reading fractions. At the end of the video, we need to be able to answer the numerator is the denominator is the
There were 5 pieces in one whole pie. The denominator of the whole pie was 5. The numerator of my part was 3, as 3/5 of the pie was for me. My mom made the apple pie out of Granny Smith's. She asked me if I liked it. I said, I plead the 5th.
The numerator's the part, the denominator's the whole, and fractions are parts of a whole.
3 birds were on a telephone pole. The denominator 3 was the group as a whole. The numerator 2, out of the thirds, described the 2/3 that were bluebirds. The numerator 2 described how many were blue, then something fell on my head. It was bird poop.
The numerator's the part, the denominator's the whole, and fractions are parts of a whole.
I took 4 shots on the goal. 3 went in, but 1 hit the bowl. The denominator was all 4 shots. The numerator was how many goals I got. The other team's record and taking a toll. Got me 4 summer shots and 1 Olympic gold.
The numerator's the part, the denominator's the whole, and fractions are parts of a whole.
A number line is every fraction between 0 and 1. Right in the middle is 1. Half and fourth is half of that. A fraction's parts you realize have to be the same size.
Hey, we're late for the game.
Hate to leave you guys.
I thought that video was super fun. So when I found it, I was like, I have to show my friends. All right. So like I said before, I need us to be able to answer these 2 parts. In the song, it says the numerator is the what? I want you to go ahead and try to say it. Say it so loud I can hear you all the way. Yes, the numerator is the part. And what did they say the denominator was? Is the denominator the part or is it the whole thing? Denominator is the whole. So if you said whole, you're a superstar. Make sure we remember those because there might be some bonus opportunities later on. All right, so we're going to really put this into practice by actually making our own resource. So if you don't have a piece of paper like I do right here handy, it's going to be really hard for you to do this activity and to make this anchor chart. It doesn't have to be a like perfectly blank paper like mine is. As long as you have a paper that at least one side is blank that you can write on, you are good to go. All right, if you don't have that, go ahead and pause the video. All right, if you're still watching, let's rock and roll. Let's make our fraction resource. I'm going to go over the steps with us first, just so that we know what to expect. If you're a Hadley friend, you know we made something like this. All right, So now I have my dot cam here with my piece of paper. It's just a regular blank piece of paper, nothing fancy. And then I'm here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my paper in half like a hamburger. So I'm going to take the bottom edge. You can't quite see it, but I'm going to take the bottom edge and I'm going to fold it to meet the top edge, just like this. And I'm going to crease it. So again, I took the bottom edge, I folded it to meet the top edge. I know normally in math we fold hot dog style, and normally in writing we would fold it like this, but go ahead and fold it like a hamburger, please. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it like a hamburger again. So I'm going to take this bottom edge. It's being a little fuzzy for me. I'm going to take this bottom edge and I'm going to fold it to meet the top edge again. Make sure they're nice and lined up to the best of your ability. Do make sure that these are really accurate folds, just so that your holes, when we break them up, will all be the same size. And then we're going to fold it once more, bring that bottom edge to the top. I know this one's kind of tougher because it's that last one. If you notice, I'm kind of using my finger here to like hold it in place as I fold, and I'm being really careful because on this one, sometimes it like doesn't work and it gets a little funky. All right, there we go. Hopefully that adjusts. Cool. So again, take it from the top. When you open it up, you'll see it's very crinkly, just like in step 2. So that's perfect because actually what each of these are, we're going to use each of these rows as a whole. So similar to the resource that we used, my Hadley friends, to make fraction strips, we're just making our own right now. So what you're going to do next is you're going to get either your pencil, or if you have a pen, that's even better. And what you're going to do, or even if you have like a marker, if you have your markers with you, is you're just going to trace the folds. So I'm going to hold my folds down. And I'm just going to trace on top of my folds, doing my best to stay even, but if I don't stay even, life will go on. So I'm just following along the fold marks. Be really careful when you're doing this just to make sure that you don't draw off your page, because I'm pretty sure your parents would be upset if you marked up their table or wherever you were working. So go ahead and just trace all of your lines so that at the end you have a piece of paper that looks like this. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to even make this like full screen so you can super see it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to label these as our holes. I'll put my picture over here so that I don't block it. So what I want you to do for that first one, grab your pencil, or if you have coloring supplies and a marker, pick one color. And what I want you to do is we're going to label this one hole. So this whole row is one hole. So when we break up the other ones, we know that when we're saying like, oh, halves or thirds or fourths or so on, it's of this whole width of our paper. All right, so now you can hopefully see it a little bit better than before. Great. So we know this whole strip is one hole. Now, what we're going to do for that second row is we're going to split it into halves. So if we have halves, show me on your hands how many pieces I'm going to have to split this row into. Draw 2 thumbs on your desk and show me. Ready, go. Yeah, 2. I know halves mean 2 pieces. I know halves mean 2 pieces in my hole. So what I'm going to do is I can actually, to make sure that these are actually split in half, now I'm going to fold my paper like a hot dog, taking this end here. You might have to put your finger in the middle since we did a lot of folding, and bringing it over to meet the opposite side. Like me, it might take a couple tries to get this perfect because we folded it so many times the other way, but not a big deal. So once you have that in half, just go ahead and make your crease, bring your finger down the middle, go ahead and open it up. So now that we folded it into halves, or we folded our paper in half, we know then to make 2 equal pieces, I can just draw a line right here. I see that my whole row has been split into 2 equal pieces. So I know this single piece is 1 piece. So 1 goes in my numerator And we know that this is now a 2 in my denominator since I need 2 pieces to make a whole. And I would label this 1/2. So go ahead and follow along and make sure you do that. I know that this is the same size piece. It is my second piece to equal a whole, but the amount of this is still 1/2. It is 1 piece of my 2 equal pieces in my whole. So this is also 1/2. And I give you about 30 seconds to get caught up. If you finish early and you have your coloring supplies, you can color your whole one color. Like maybe I would color this red. Maybe I color my halves orange. Totally up to you. All right, the next fraction that we're going to practice modeling, in this case on our special resource, are thirds. Show me on your hands how many equal pieces go in thirds. Ready, go. Yeah, 3. I need to have, my finger slipped out there, 3 equal pieces in order for this whole to be broken into thirds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my halfway point. I know that to break this into 3 equal pieces, these pieces are going to be smaller because it's the same size whole, but now I need to split that whole into 3 pieces. So I'm going to probably have to bring my pieces to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to try right here. Maybe I recommend using a pencil if you want to use a pencil first. Obviously, being a teacher, I have a little bit more practice. But if you want to use a pencil to make your lines first, totally fine, go for it. You just want to make sure that your pieces are all about the same size. They are equal because we know in order for a fraction, we need to have equal pieces. We need to have equal pieces. So this piece right here is 1 piece. What's going to go in the denominator? Show me on your hand. Yeah, 3. Remember, the denominator helps us know the name and also how many pieces go in our whole. So we know that these are all 1/3. I'm going to go ahead and give you about 40 seconds to finish labeling your pieces. We know each piece is 1/3 of the whole row or the whole strip. If you're already done and you have your coloring supplies, maybe you color this next one yellow. I just like to color them in a rainbow. All right, now it is time for us to do our next one. We're going to focus on fourths next. Show me on your hands how many equal pieces we need to break the strip up into in order for them to be fourths. Ready, go. Ooh, some of you didn't do it. You thought I was going to do it. Ready, go. Yeah, 4 equal pieces. If we're working on fourths, there needs to be 4 equal pieces in my whole. Fourths means 4 pieces. Fourths means, yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do to make sure that these are even pieces is first I'm going to mark it in half to make 2 pieces. And then I don't need to break this piece into half again in order for them to be fourths. I know that we talked about this a lot throughout the year, but what do you notice is happening as my denominator increases, as we add more pieces, or as we break our whole into more pieces? All right, so since we're talking about fourths here, I know this is 1 piece, and there are 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces in my whole. So this is 1/4. I know, same thing. This is, even though it's my second piece, it's still 1 piece out of my 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces. So this is also 1/4. And I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to finish marking up your other pieces. Awesome possum. Please make sure that when you are writing your fractions, you are writing the numerator on the top, then your fraction bar, then your denominator on the bottom. I know that when we type them, we have to use the slash, but I don't want you to write them like that. I prefer that you write them like this. All right, now we're going to break our fraction strip up into fifths. Quick, fast, show me on your hands how many pieces are we going to break it up into if it's fifths. Yep, we're going to break it up into 5 pieces. So I know if I'm going to break it up into 5 pieces, my pieces are going to have to be, they're going to have to be smaller. That was our answer from before. As we break a whole up into more pieces, they are getting smaller each piece. So I'm going to move my line maybe just a little bit here, a little bit to the left of my 4th line. Try to do it so you can see right here. And break these up into 5 equal pieces. Those look pretty equal to me. I tried my best. All right, so I know each piece is one piece out of a total of 5 pieces to make up a whole. So I'm going to label that 1 in my numerator, 5 in my denominator. Then I'm going to write 1/5. Because they're all equal pieces, we know they're all the same size. You can label each of these pieces as 1/5 and see who can beat me. Ready, go. Whew, I'm sure some of you have already beat me. You can work on your coloring. Still making sure that we are writing nice and neat though. 5th is kind of a funny word. All right, now we're going to do our 6ths. Show me on your hand how many pieces will I have to break my whole strip up into in order to do 5ths. Ready, go. Oh, Miss Cupp, I said 5th. Show me on your hands how many pieces you would have to break the whole strip up in order to be 6ths. Ready, go. Yeah, you had to use both hands there. 6 equal pieces. Same as before, in order for me to fit 6 equal pieces on that strip, I'm going to have to make sure each piece is smaller than when it was 5ths. Another way I can think about this too is if I split it in half first, any even number, you can always use your half trick. Split it in half first. I know that half of 6 is 3. So I need 3 pieces here and 3 pieces here. That'll help you maybe make your pieces more even. Also, friends, it's totally fine if you need to like pause this video because you need some extra time. If I'm moving a little too fast, always just be sure to pause the video and then catch up. Not a big deal at all. All right, so we know that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces in our whole. So we know that each piece is 1 piece out of 6 total pieces. It is 1/6 of the strip. So each piece is 1/6 of the strip. I know this kind of feels like art class right now, even though it's not Thursday. I know normally you do art on Thursdays with Mr. Augusta or Miss Ruiz, but we're bringing it into Tuesday. Alrighty. Like I said, if I'm moving a little too fast, just go ahead and pause the video and then you can totally catch up. Not a big deal. Alrighty. The last one that we're going to do, I know there's 2 more rows left, don't worry. But the last fractional amount we're going to break this up into is 8ths. So we're going to break this up into 8ths. What I would like you to do is show me on your hand what number is going to go in our denominator. How many pieces are we breaking this up to? We're breaking it into 8ths. Ready, go. If you have 8 fingers up, kiss your brain. You're absolutely right. So we have to break this up into 8 pieces. So what I'm going to do is, since that's a number that I know I can hit when I count by 2s, it's divisible by 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my halfway point here. I know there needs to be 4 pieces on this side, 4 pieces on that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this piece in half again. And then I'm just going to break them in halves again. So same over here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to split it into halves. There's 2 pieces. Then I'm going to split this into halves. 2 pieces. 2 pieces. All right. Since we know this is 1 piece, we need 8 total pieces to make our whole. We know this piece is 1/8. Might be kind of hard to write, so just try your best to write it really small. Maybe you're like me and you sort of write the 8th underneath here. 8th is also a kind of funky one because you have to write 8 and then put an H on the end. I'm going to start writing it like this so I have some more room. All right, I hope somebody beat me because I'm writing pretty slow right now. So you might already be done. If you are, just wait 1 second for me. Whew, I thought I was done, but I was only 7/8 of the way there. We can use it to do our math. Might have to move your hand to hold it down. All right. Now you're probably like, Miss Cupp, what are we going to do with this last whole strip at the bottom? Well, any good artist always signs their work, so we're going to put your name on it. So what I want you to do is write your name at the bottom Maybe you can even do like an artist signature afterwards. So you could be like, oh, really fancy or something like that. All artists always sign their work, so sign your work, friends. All right, super cool. We now have this awesome fraction resource for us to use. Remember, what we did was we basically split our paper up and we made each strip of these a whole. Then by breaking them apart into different equal pieces, we drew with this awesome resource a bunch of different fractions. So now we can even look at it and we can know, okay, if I have same size wholes, so in this case, each whole is the same size, I know that 1/2 is going to be bigger than 1/3 because it's two pieces. If I'm splitting into halves, these pieces are going to get bigger. So like we talked about before, as the number in our denominator gets larger, so in this case, a 2 is in the bottom because in halves, there are 2 equal pieces in a whole. There's a 3 in the bottom for thirds because there are 3 equal pieces in a whole. 4 is in the denominator for fourths because there are 4 equal pieces, so on and so forth. So as the digit in the denominator gets larger, look at what happens to the size of our pieces. They get smaller. So there's an opposite relationship. As the number in the denominator gets bigger, the size of each piece gets smaller, which makes sense. If you think about each of these as like a stick of bubble gum, maybe you remember our bubble gum investigations task. You think, okay, here I get my whole piece of bubble gum. Here I'm splitting it between me and a friend, so I'm going to get less. Maybe then I have to split it with another friend, so I'm going to get even less. The more people you share something with, the less amount that you're going to get. All right, we're going to now use our fraction strips to do some fun riddles. Stay tuned. All right, my friends, I said that we were going to use our fraction resources to do some quick riddles. These are the type of riddles that you're going to see in an independent practice. They're really going to force us to think about, okay, what number is going into my numerator? Quick and fast is the numerator, the number on the top or the bottom. Show me your hands. Ready, go. Yeah, if your hands are up, go ahead and give yourself a, that's a spicy meatball cheer. Go ahead and do it. Mwah, mwah. That's a spicy meatball. One of my favorites. Yeah, the numerator is the digit on top. It tells us how many pieces we have. It's also going to force us to think about the digit on the bottom. What is that called again? What is that called again? Say it as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if you said denominator, go ahead and give yourself a Texas cheer. Yeah, one of my favorite cheers as well. Yeah, so the denominator is the number on the bottom. It tells us not only the name of each piece, but how many pieces make up one whole. If you remember that fraction song that we watched, the funny video with the bird poop, remember the numerator is the part, the denominator is the whole. All right, let's rock and roll and do some quick riddles. So, sorry, my screen probably just changed, but I needed to make sure that we had our form up because actually the questions, or the spot that I want you to record these are your guided practice. They are these riddles. So when I need to move to my camera, don't worry, I'll show you my camera. So we're going to do riddle number 1. So the first riddle says, I need 4 equal pieces to make one whole. So I need 4 equal pieces to make one whole. So immediately what I'm thinking about is, okay, so if there's 4 equal pieces in one whole, I need to find my strips find the strip that has the 4 equal pieces. So I'm noticing, okay, halves I know are 2 pieces, thirds are 1, 2, 3 pieces, fourths are 1, 2, 3, 4. Ding, 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 I have my winner. So I know that number on the bottom of this fraction is going to be a 4. This is sneakily telling me the denominator, it's telling me the denominator. Now it's saying, okay, I have 2 pieces. Is this telling me the numerator or giving me more information about the denominator? Hands up or hands down? If your hands are up, wave them around because you're absolutely right. This is telling me what my numerator is. If I have 2 pieces, that would be like saying, okay, here are your fourths. Here's 1 piece. We have this many pieces. How many total fourths do I then have? 1, 2. I have 2 fourths. So in my numerator, I would write 2 fourths. So I'm going to come to my form. It is telling me what is the answer to fraction riddle number 1 in word form. Okay, so I know that in word form, I would write 2 fourths. Please make sure you spell that correctly. I'll even make sure to put a text bubble up here so you can see, because if you don't, look what will happen. It'll be like, bummer, check your spelling. So make sure that you're spelling this correctly. I do want you to practice writing in math. I know that's what happens when your math teacher is also a writing teacher, my friends. All right, so you're going to say 2/4. All right, now let's do fraction riddle number 2. If it wants to. There. Fraction riddle number 2. I need 6 equal pieces to make one whole. I have 4 pieces. What fraction am I? Same as before, I'm going to come to my handy dandy anchor chart. I know if I need 6 pieces to make a whole, I'm looking for 6 equal pieces. I know based on a review that I'm looking at my sixths. I'm looking at my sixths. Reminder, it told us that we have 4 pieces. So then I would know, just counting, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sixths. So this amount right here, I have 4 sixths of my whole. So the answer in this case is, I remember this clue 1 is telling me my denominator. It's telling me that I need 6 pieces to make a whole. Clue 2 is telling me my numerator. I have 4 pieces. This fraction is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 sixths. It is good. Let's get to our form. It says, what is the answer to fraction riddle number 2 in numbers? In order to type this, what you're going to do is you're going to click the 4 at the top of your computer. Now you're going to find the slash, which is next to shift on the right side of your computer, the bottom right corner of your keyboard. There is a slash button. You click it like that, and then you're going to click 6. If you have some typing trouble, don't worry to warn you. For example, if you try to type 3 sixths and then you move on, it's going to be like, uh-oh, make sure it's correct and to watch this video. All right, let's do fraction riddle number 3. Alrighty, let's look at fraction riddle number 3. Ooh, this is telling me I need 8 equal pieces to make one whole. So that's just giving me information about my hands up for numerator, hands down for denominator. It's giving me information about my, if it's telling me equal pieces in one whole, hands up, hands down, ready, go. Yeah, it's telling me information about my numerator. So I know in this case that I'll have 8 equal pieces. We know the name for something with 8 equal pieces. Each of those pieces is called n. Ooh, if you don't know, go ahead and look at your handy dandy fraction resource. Which one of these has 8 equal pieces? We call those eighths. We call those. Each of these pieces are eighths. If there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces in the whole. Excellent. So we know our denominator is going to be 8. We know each piece is an eighth. Ooh, this is a tricky clue too. It says I need 5 more pieces to be whole. So whatever fractional amount we have, I would need 5 more pieces for it to be whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, okay, I'm going to start at my whole right over here, and I'm going to count back 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I cover up, that's how many pieces I need to be whole. How many are left? 1, 2, 3. So the fractional amount that we do have, the fraction that is this riddle, is 1, 2, 3 eighths. So again, if it needs a certain amount of pieces to be whole, you're going to start from the whole, count how many more pieces it needs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cover that guy up. We have 1, 2, 3 pieces. Each of these pieces are called an eighth. So we have 3 eighths. I'm going to put 3 in my numerator to tell me that I have 3 pieces. Now, it says, what is the answer to the fraction riddle number 3 in numbers? Well, we know we have 3 pieces. We have a total of 8 pieces in our whole. This is 3 eighths. All right, our last and final riddle before it is y'all's time to shine. Here we go. Fraction riddle number 4. There are 3 equal pieces to make one whole. I need 2 pieces to be whole. So again, one of those like we got to count back sort of tricks. What fraction am I? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to try by yourself, and then I'll rock and roll with you. What fraction am I? All right, that was our 30 seconds. I was just checking on my timer. Let's rock and roll. So 3 equal pieces to make one whole. I know I'm looking at my looking at my thirds because I have 1, 2, 3 pieces to make one whole. So each of these pieces is a third. Each of them is 1/3. Good. Now it says I need 2 pieces to be whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at my whole strip. So in this case, this would be 1, 2, 3/3. I'm going to count back 2. 1, 2, cover that up. If I need 2 pieces to be whole, that means I only have 1/3. That means the fraction that is this riddle is 1/3. It tells me for question 4 to answer it in words. So I'm going to write 1/3. I know some of you might be tempted to like type the digit 1. I do still want you to practice our spelling, practice our words, because if you can spell it correctly, you can read it correctly. So we know this is 1/3. All right, that was our practice. We made this handy dandy resource that I will ask you to try to bring for the rest of our lessons. Fun fact, if you submit a picture of this, you will get 4 Vista virtual bonus points. I'll show you where to submit it in 1 second. All right, so as a reminder, we went over our magic word earlier, but it is the word that describes how many pieces make up one whole. We've talked about it a lot today, so hopefully all of you should know it's a denominator. Make sure you spell it correctly. If you need to go back in the video, just go ahead and do it. All right, this is where you can upload it for bonus points. So here's your IP. We're going to fast forward it. Right here, you can get bonus points if you take a picture of your resource and you upload it here. So you'll have to upload it to your computer. Maybe you can even take a picture with your computer if you know how to do that, and you add it here. You just click add file and do it there. If you don't know how to do that, no big deal. I know we all have different knowledge abilities about computers, not a big deal. Also, you can go to office hours, and if you show Miss Hendricks or Mr. Cody your resource that looks like this, they will give you 4, count them, 4 Vista virtual points. That's a lot of points. So again, you can either upload it here if you know how to do that from your computer. If you don't, not a big deal. Or maybe if your parents or your older sibling doesn't, not a big deal. Go to office hours here and you will get those points. All right. So excited that we made our own resource today, my friends. Rock and roll in your independent practice.